Kailey Veenstra is a writer and a women's groups facilitator, passionate about spreading love to our world rather than fear. She is fascinated by the beauty of people and places, particularly her oceanside town of Port Moody. I don't know if we're still a town, but great. It sounds nice. I would like to say that she wrote a beautiful picture book that she read in our class a couple of weeks ago, and I wish I had that book when my kids were a little bit smaller. I can see her daughter in the back being quiet without a tablet, so she's doing a great job. Kailey.
My name's Kailey, and I have been writing most of my life. My professional writing career has more resided in my entrepreneurial ventures, as well as doing content creation and marketing for small businesses. So I have two self-published books. The first one is called Seeking Grace. It's available right now in digital format, but I blogged about my life for about a decade online, and my blog was called Seeking Grace. And when I came to a juncture in my life, I knew it was time for me to walk into a new chapter, and I really wanted to honor that decade of my life. And so I created this memoir and paired it with my photography. And I just love Port Moody, and so it's all full scale color photography, and mostly around this area. So the stories are really honest and raw, and so I call them soul scripts on healing and faith and love and relationships. So the essay I'm going to read for you today is from Seeking Grace, and it's called Breaking Bread with Strangers. But I will show you, today is the very first day that I actually have the physical copy of my children's book, and this actually came out of our writers group, and what I found such encouragement to actually make it available. So, and again, it is paired with my photography. And it's about random acts of kindness that actually, in my opinion, is where love is best shown in really practical, simple ways. It's bringing the focus back to community, and it was inspired by a girlfriend of mine who I had quite a traumatic delivery, and she just loved on me relentlessly in the weeks after, and it was that experience that really birthed this book. And the other thing that I recently just created, I have an everyday cards line, but I did create a Christmas line, and again, it's to bring heartfelt sentiments when you really don't have words for people, and it's paired with my photography. So thank you. Breaking bread with strangers. In building relationships with people who are different from us, we must decide, are we willing to risk saying the wrong things? Risk hearing how we are part of a problem? Are we willing to love and push through hurts that may come? We must risk exploring the problems we don't want to admit are even there. Jenny Allen. 3 weeks ago, she passed me on the sidewalk. Her style is what caught my eye. Then we met later at the neighborhood park. Our kids played while we exchanged pleasantries. Then nap time cut us short. She asked for my number and a plan to meet again. We did the following week, but despite my best intentions, I had forgotten. Thankfully, she followed up. And in our second meeting, I came face to face with conviction. My ignorance towards a hurting heart reaching out. I'd missed it entirely. I was too caught up in my own stuff to even notice. This time I couldn't outrun it. I couldn't even pretend. I had added to the problem. She shared the heartache of being new to our city. 6 months without a friend. Not for a lack of trying either. She had tried everything, in fact, including offering her number to countless mums, but no one texted back. She said they didn't even bother to respond. Language barriers were an issue. I too had to strain to understand. But as I listened with my heart, not just my ears and my eyes, I heard my own heart's cry in hers. We shared an earnest plea for friendship and community and a longing to gather with other women. On a park bench in spring, I held space for her confessions of loneliness, shame, rejection, feeling misunderstood and unwanted. I sat there in silence and just listened, and love began to burrow a hole into my heart. I felt prompted to invite her to dinner, and over salad, she shared about her transition to Canada, followed by 3 months of looming depression. She told me of illness during pregnancy, how they discovered cancer shortly thereafter, her seizures after bringing home the baby, and surgery to remove the growth. Alone, she'd fought the monster. She'd needed help all the while because her husband worked very long hours, and yet she had no one. My heart broke for her. In many ways, I could relate. While I'm surrounded by friends and family, I've been hurt by people's ability to forget me or to not reach out when I need it most. I've lived for so long feeling alone, in the middle of a bustling city, in a church service, in the midst of a gathering of friends. I've felt too different to relate to. Community has been a struggle most of my life. That Friday, she invited me over. Shyly, she admitted to having prepared a spread. She wanted to serve us something special. Homemade bread cake, she called it, a family tradition. She had called her grandmother at 1 a.m. because of the time difference and got the recipe. She asked to decorate it together with our girls and then eat it. There was such intimacy to it. Our conversation lingered for hours, topics swirling back and forth, from family and childhood to tragedy and love. She shared memories of this bread, the way her grandmother gathered souls around the table, and we pulled it with our bare hands, sharing not only our hearts, but our nourishment. It felt akin to our very own Last Supper. 2 women, worlds apart in heritage and language, uniting in the name of love. I could feel the holiness in our moment. And somehow, this simple act of gathering was the bravest and most beautiful thing that we could do. Thank you.